Welcome back to DevSecOps Talks with Paulina.
Yes.
Andre.
Hey.
So, what did we talk last time about?
Passkeys.
That was passkeys.
Passkeys.
I actually have update.
Okay.
So we spoke about Microsoft, but I got an email from HubSpot, I think yesterday.
Yeah.
And they told me, you know what? We noticed that you are logging in exclusively with the passkey, so we're about to delete your password.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's a welcome move from your side. I haven't asked for it, but I'm all for it. So, yes, please. Yes, please.
You better have.
That's a bold one.
Yeah. Have a copy of the passkey. You should have a copy of the passkey. Or you can reset it, right, with the email or something. Right?
Yeah, I probably still have a fallback. I'll say, like, I lost everything. Let me in.
Please, please, please. Yeah.
Please. Pretty please.
Yeah. So in Sweden, there were like many years ago, it was like a comedy show about IT support, right? And this guy coming in and asking IT support, and IT support is just this, very bad people. And so he duct taped like a square, like. So when people come in and ask for things, they have to stand in the square when they ask him, like, please, can you reset my password? It's like, you stepped out of the square, like. I ought to think about that when you have to go and ask for like new things, like, please, can I get a new password? It's like stand in the square, ask for like.
But what else happening outside of Square is us asking the European cloud providers to come to the show and participate. So, like, we did a intra episode before we did passkeys.
Yeah.
So now I think we got at least one company answering. We're working on the questions. If you have questions, you send them in via LinkedIn or any other means you have available to you. And we will include them. So stay tuned. We will have interview episode coming up someday soon, hopefully. But what do we have for today?
So, talking about passwords and passkeys, we also have to figure out still how do we handle passwords and the secrets in general. And even in 2025, we still see noob mistakes like hard-coded passwords or sharing passwords via Teams, or stuff like that. So, what are the common mistakes in secrets management? What do you see from your sides and your experience recently? Any failovers?
I would guess hard-coded is the one I see mostly, and also get question like, this is a secret to like staging? Can I hard-code that one? Right, and those things. So see, hard-code is one. It's when you develop, it's hard to work with secrets, right? So that one, and then sharing passwords. Slack is if you can search for password in Slack. You should do that on the company Slack. You can search for if you have the password, you can search for maybe like some characters of the password to see if they match in Slack. You don't want to search for the whole password, or you search for like key or something to see if people are sharing them. It's I would guess those two, like
secrets
sharing and hard coding. Andrea, what about you?
Oh, I would concur. So it's when it comes to the secrets used by humans, it's sharing is a problem. I think most of the workspaces usually would have a password manager for the team. If you don't, there are open source stuff that you can get, like Bitford, and so there's like no good excuse not to have one. Like you can have something that's built in the operating system. I think like Mac now ships with a password app and stuff like that. So sharing, like the password managers that would allow you to send the link and then person can log in and get the password, so you don't really need to send it in a messenger. But yeah, that's happening quite often.
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing is within the team, and then on top of it, you have across the team. Sometimes you need to share passwords, and sometimes you have process at least within a team, which works, but not necessarily across the teams in the organization.
Right.
That's the other problem. Another thing, do you rotate your passwords?
Yes, you should, right?
Yeah.
This is also the trick, like rotating a SQL password. It sounds that you should do it, but who actually does that in
Actually, I have
right?
another one to the common pitfalls. It's like the reuse of the password, or like sharing the password between multiple people.
Yeah.
So you would have, for instance, a database which has only root credentials, and people would just share that password, and many people log in with the same password, so you have no idea who is logged in. It's very hard to trace.
Yeah.
And you also
Yeah.
have applications logging in with the same password. And then the password gets leaked, and now you need to rotate it, and will break everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, or they use the same password to everything. Yeah, that's another issue.
Oh yeah. I usually like have something in between them, so you have to log in with your account, and then you can use the share password. But then at least you have some gateway to see who it is. But as you say, Andre, when we're using application, you have no clue. You see like root user doing all the actions, right?
And quite often, I would say, the underlying platform would have a means of avoiding that. So, like, for instance, you take AWS, they have RTS databases there. Like, if you do Dynamo, which is accessible over HTTPS, there you use your role, so there is like no password sharing. But if you're using like more traditional, like PostgreSQL, MySQL, where the password is in use, then there you have IAM Auth, which allows you to generate one-time tokens and log in with those, and those bound to your role, and so on and so on. But that comes with the challenges. So it needs work from developers. So it's different from just passing the password to application.
Yeah.
The application needs to do a little bit of gymnastic to produce the token and then send the token. Plus, usually those tokens will be limited in a lifespan, so they will have like 15 minutes window, and then they need to rotate. So there is work that needs to be done by developers, and usually developers are busy doing the business logic stuff, so they don't always have time for that. I mean, luckily now we have AI, so like even infrastructure engineers can go and instrument applications without involving developers, just like using Cursor saying, do RDS IAM Auth here, and with a few iterations, you will have something that works.
But that's in AWS, and it's a little bit cheating sometimes in the cloud, because you can do those kind of things. If you're running like your own stuff, you have a MySQL server, like.
Well, you still have a way, actually. So if you're running completely on premise, then you are a client of HashiCorp. So you go with Vault.
Vault can do it, yeah.
HashiCorp Vault basically will have its own credentials that it uses to log into database. And then when you want to log in, it will generate a user and a temporary password for you.
Yeah.
When you're done with your stuff, it will go and delete that user.
Yeah.
But the challenge, I actually did that.
Yeah.
The challenge there is that you need to write quite complex SQL statements. So since you're logging in with a user that will no longer exist after some time, so everything that is created by that user needs to be handled by something else. So you need to transfer ownership of everything that user creates to some other entity within database. And it's, I would say, it's possible, but it takes some time and some advanced SQL. Like again, with UI, with AI, it's probably easier now. But
is this the solution now, Paulina? Like you talk about it. I mean, now we just went straight into like temporary like access. Like the problem is like static password in files, and you share them. But I mean, what we're talking about now is like temporary creating access to applications, like
there are many problems. I wouldn't say there's one, but we can go to from basics where like, okay, don't hard code your password, don't share it via Teams, and don't expose it in the pipelines and so on. So you can, have many problems, but there, depends also how advanced you are and so on. There are gonna be different things you can address. So it's not the same, and also depending on where is your setup, what do you have there? Yeah, Andrew?
I suggest we slice it in the categories. So we have the secrets that are handled by humans, like the passwords to log into the website and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's password manager. It's kind of solved.
Yeah.
Generally, just go get yourself a password manager. Introduce it to the team. Done. Then we have applications and tools that needs to have secrets. And I would slice those into the secrets you control, like stuff that you can either look up or generate, and secrets you don't control, stuff that you get from outside. So for instance, some partner would provide you with API key or something like that, right? So that's something that you cannot control. That's like a static secret that you cannot generate, and you don't control its life cycles provided to you externally. So there are those two. And there are many ways how you can go about the secrets you can control. We already touched upon Vault and so on and so on. Because like those are secrets that you generate internally, right? You create a database, you set those passwords, you can manage them, and you have a lot of room how to go about it. But then you have the secrets provided to you externally. So what do you do about those?
Yeah.
And also a question, where do you use it? Do you use it in Docker? Do you use it in infrastructure? Do you use it in your application? Is it pipelines? That also the handling it might look a bit different versus on this, and what has access to what.
Yeah. But I mean, I think the ones you get from how do you share password with external companies, right? If you're gonna send the password to a client, right? How do you share that? Like, do you share it with like a Bitwarden, or like do you encrypt it with GDP and send it over? Like, how do you share a password with an external party when you share it?
It's quite easy with one password. You just send the link, they log in and see it. So that's actually quite easy.
But then they will get it. I mean, I encrypted with PGP, but then that person on the other side get it, and then they see the clear text, and then they need to add it to their secret manager.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
That's where, lack of processes is coming. So if you don't have process of handling it, you're gonna have to figure out each time how do you do it. So you need a process also. Okay, how do we handle internal secrets? How do we do human secrets which human handle and need to log in somewhere? And how do you have, application internal and external secrets? Figure out the process. What tooling are you using? How do you do it also across out of your organization?
Yeah.
Another thing is, well, like when you were describing all of that, I actually realized that there is another problem that we haven't mentioned, but it is, I bet everyone has, is a secrets problem. So you don't have a centralized place where you store secrets. They just sprawl all over the place.
Yeah.
And that might be a problem as well. So that's something else that needs to be addressed. Like generally, like my personal, like for instance, where I see it, you have stuff like 1Password, right? Like the password manager. You would store stuff there, but then on AWS you will have secrets manager, you will have parameter store. So you have at least 3 places where you would normally store secrets. And then you have all other places where you're not supposed to be storing secrets, but you still do.
Yeah.
Or like take the GitHub pipeline secrets.
Yeah.
Like. So that's another place where you can store the secret.
Yeah.
Yeah, or Jenkins or GitHub or database itself or your computer. Yeah, I've seen different setups where you have secrets or you in your head and you forget it. So that's another issue. Also, the lack of teaching people how to handle secrets when they join the organization. So they do it in their own way. And even if the processes are there, they very often don't follow them because they're not aware of them. That's also something I've seen.
But then also like something like when you find a secret that are in clear text in the GitHub repo or wherever you have a Git repo, how do you react then? Do you instantly like go, okay, revoke, send it back to the client like, sorry, we by mistake added your API token to GitHub, we need a new one. Like how do you react when you find these secrets in Git?
You rotate.
I think,
Rotate.
yeah, but that's one of the practices which people have, I think, that they only rotate based on the incident. So only when the secret is leaked or compromised, then they will rotate it.
Yeah, but that's the thing, right? If you have it in Git, is this leaked then, right? You have it in a private Git. Is it leaked or is it not? Like, what's the definition here, would you say?
Is Git private? Is it who has access to it? Who should have access to it? So we're coming back to very old good, it depends.
Yeah, it depends.
What do you think? When is it compromised, in your opinion? Because usually we are working within, private Git space. Is it in cloud? Is it on-prem? So, for example, we have it in the pipeline or in the Git. Is it compromised if everyone in an organization can have access to it or not?
It's a hard question. It depends on the company as well, right? But right now, I would say if I see a Git token leaked in Git, I would try to revoke it, right? Actually,
I mean, you should revoke it anyway. Like as soon as it's out in the public, you should consider that to be leaked.
Yeah,
there is no other way.
Yeah, I think so too, right? If you have like the slightest doubt that this will be leaked to anybody, just to revoke it and replace. It shouldn't be that hard process as well. That's something like it shouldn't be that hard to generate new secrets and replace them. If that is too much work, so you can't renew things, then you need to fix that. It should be easy to create new password. So you can.
Yeah, the process shouldn't be overcomplicated, or it should be at least partially automated, if possible, in some cases.
Yeah. I think often that's the problem. Like, oh shit, this is a new password. I have to do all this stuff. If like the work to create a new password is not that big, it's easier, and then it will be quicker. And then yeah.
Ideally, you will have that central place where you store your passwords. To have a source of truth.
Yeah.
And then ideally, you would use some automation tool to distribute that secret. So that you need to see how the system works. So for instance, GitHub cannot go to your secrets manager. There is like no integration to fetch it from there. You can build it into your pipeline. So that's what you could do. So like, if you can help it, you should avoid copying secrets between places, because then you losing audit capability. Since if you have it in one place, like let's say it's AWS Secrets Manager, then you have CloudTrail, and you can see who consumed the secret when, and who accessed it, what role was used. You have the audit trail. But if you take the secret from there, copy it to GitHub pipeline secrets, then you need to look into the GitHub audit log and then correlate and then try to understand what was there. And that also makes it more complicated to rotate it. Since now you need to remember to go and update another place. And the more system you copy it into, the more complicated it gets. And that's the problem with a shared password, right? You have no idea where it's being used because everyone is using the same password. You have no audit capability. So like you're going to rotate it, you have no idea what's going to break. You assume it's going to be only your application developers, but suddenly there is something else that depends from. So that's why you don't want to do that either. In the pipelines, you could use like AWS CLI or something like Terraform, what have you, to read that secret and then use it and maybe pass it to application, to ECS, Kubernetes, what have you. And the same with the rest of the system. So like those are the easy rules, right? So avoid copying the secrets between the systems, try to keep them in the same system. If your system for the secrets management doesn't really support easy integrations with other systems, you're probably looking at something that you want to replace with something that does those integrations. So like those would be evaluation criteria.
Yeah, don't use your passwords in logs. Have some basics like the git ignore and so on. Don't commit your passwords to the code.
Yeah. And there are always
have a
tools.
plan. If the secret leaks, you need to figure out what should be done then and not just panic. So here we come to Matthias' specialty, incident management. Rotation, that's another thing.
I think also like segment between dev and prod, right?
Yeah.
If you're like connecting, accessing production a lot from like maybe local or like developing workstations, you need those passwords, right, to get access. Say that you're, I don't know, the classic, I need production data to calculate this statistics or whatever, how many users are involved. Then as a developer, they need access to production, then they need a password. And that is also maybe what I think like behavior that you should divide, right? Get it out. Then
I think general division between development environments and production environment should be there to some degree, at least for security reasons and to not fuck up production as well.
Yeah. So the limit of like production passwords should be only handled in like production environments. So like isolated in there, I think it's good practice as well. But isn't like CI/CD the CI/CD tool is like a little fancy thing. It does all the things. It has access to so many things. Production, access to all the passwords. Like
if you configure it properly, then you would use temporary access for the workers. So then they only have access while they need to run something, and then it's revoked. So ideally, don't use anything that's permanent. Like quite often, like Jenkins would have possibility to log into all the accounts and wheel. You don't really want that. Or IDCs,
and also sometimes you have windows when we open the roles, for example, for Jenkins or other tools, which then only can deploy within the particular window of time when it has access to production environments. So it cannot. So even if you run pipelines, then it's gonna fail because the access is turned off out of the service window, for example.
Yeah.
Right. There is also another potential use. Like quite often, you need to use some secrets in a command line. Like for instance, you need to run some bash or what have you, some tool, and pass the secret there. And that might be like, for instance, some people will use env files, which I don't think you should be doing really, because then it's stored and encrypted in a disk and anything can grab it. But tools like, for instance, again, if you're using something like AWS Secrets Manager, write small bash script that would just, run AWS CLI to grab the value of the secret for you, export it as environment variable, and then run your script that you need to run with access to that. So, like 1Password also provides a CLI tool that you could use to map secrets stored in 1Password to environment variable temporarily while you're running some script. So there are ways how you could run things locally, not necessarily in CI, but still only fetch it from the systems that manages the password for the time you only need it, and also leave a trail of it.
Yeah, that's good. You add it to like MySQL and it says like clear text password in the CLI is not best practice. Like, and then you kind of ends up with it anywhere, right? And it's sometimes logged as well.
Yeah, like
You log in.
your bash history, for instance.
Yeah, you log into the MySQL server, you just look history like, oh, okay, here's the password, okay, and then you just like, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a good point to also have, log who accessed the password and who changed it and so on. That's at least, for example, AWS provides it. Not each tool will do.
Yeah.
Other problem which we have very often is, okay, who owns what passwords? Because some stuff gonna be in particular team, but some stuff sync in between, and that's very often forgotten stuff as well. And not handle.
Yeah, I mean that's a big thing. I mean, often it's like the infrastructure or some platform can set up everything, and they can provide password to the services. But then you get the third-party passwords from API keys to client or map keys or whatever. Like if you get those from external, and they needs to be added as well. So sometimes the manager get the password, but who is responsible for them then, right? Is it like the manager, or like the key account manager that got the password from the other companies? Is the developer that used the password, or is it like the platform or infra team that has the password manager which store the password, right? Someone needs to work when you need to revoke the password, right? Who will it be?
Yeah, and very often if you put stuff in between, they're not getting updated later. You'll find out after several years. I've seen a case like this recently somewhere. 7 years later, something wasn't kept up to date or maintained enough.
Yeah.
And you only find out when other team is doing something.
It's a classic. How many passwords do you think are stored in OpenAI in ChatGPT? Wasn't it something that you can like out tab from code and you get some passwords right in the beginning, or did I? I'm sure. I mean, it has to be a lot of password in there, like API keys to invest.
Could be.
Just fetch them.
Yeah. I mean, Paulina did a great job preparing.
Yeah.
For the episode. I mean, like we are looking at the board with tons
There
of
is
stickers.
no public available data, how many passwords it's in ChatGPT.
Yeah. Okay.
But I feel that like we are all over the place with it, so we're not really following the plan.
No, we just. It was a great plan, right? Sorry for
it was a great plan. I think it's still like allowed us to remember things to mention. I'm just running my eyes over it and trying
I
to
think
see
we covered most of this stuff, just not in the order, but a bit all over the place.
Right, I can see there is like a Docker security, it's like the secrets built into Docker. We did an episode on that. Docker security, go listen.
Yeah.
There are no changes on this since then. Because like the generally Docker ecosystem and the Docker build was generally steady. It wasn't like big breakthroughs or changes since that episode.
But what is this like passwords? As you said in the beginning, like we're still seeing password in clear text in Git today. And now we have all these tools, right? They're not available that many years ago. Like you can have like temporary tokens, you can have Vault that just create tokens for you and just fetch them. We have password managers. Now you can actually share password really simple. Like, so what's lacking? Is it like education or?
Education, culture. I think both. That's usually what is missing in majority of the stuff. You have a lot of stuff available, but we have also very high cognitive load because of the work, and very often, if we can cut corners somewhere, that's what people do, or like, okay, I'll fix it later, and this kind of mindset.
Yes, is that like there are this tool, but it's still more complicated to get the secret into the tool than just, of course, send it on Slack. But yeah.
Yeah, or too much, too complicated manual process. That's also another thing. People wanna simplify if they can.
Yeah. So that is like, even if we have all the tools and things, it's still like educating, talking about it, like determine like what is a secure source or like media or that you can send it over, and just I think follow through when you find secrets that are in clear text and revoke them like quickly, like to show like, okay, this is bad, we're gonna redo it to keep up to like the bare minimum of what you should do with when you find secrets lying around. Yeah, education. How do they educate people in this?
I'm looking at the board, and there is one thing that we haven't mentioned. So there is like use Terraform sensitive true and remote state encryption, which kind of sets us up for another episode topic that I have been preparing. So it's like a difference between OpenTofu and Terraform features. It was a year since OpenTofu went GA, and there was quite a bit of development on both sides. So the both tools pushing each other.
Yeah.
So there were development towards secrets management in the state, and those two tools, Terraform and OpenTofu, took different approaches to that, and they also took different approaches to a number of other issues. So I have a table prepared to go through, and if we have someone who is listening who would like to participate in that discussion, reach out to me. I think that will be the next episode we will be recording, unless the European cloud stuff will go through.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, remote state encryption was one of the biggest things, like in OpenTofu for us.
Yeah.
Okay, and the last words on passwords.
Secrets.
Keep
your secrets.
I like, but I think like from this, like talk with people about secrets. They're important. Keep them safe. Like use the tools. Like if you find
educate.
them, yeah. If you find it, don't hesitate. Revoke. Like this is bad. Revoke. Redo. Right. Yeah.
Do some logging. Figure out who's using your secrets.
Oh,
don't commit them.
But that's
some
something
basics.
that you didn't have. Like who is using your secrets? Like that's always a thing, right? You give away secrets to people, like API keys or whatever, and then you don't know who's using what.
Yeah, but if you, for example, have it in the password manager, at least that's what you can see, who has access to it.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else? Well, I will press end of this episode.
No, thank you for today.
Enjoy the rest of the week, or whatever you have ahead of you.
You have been listened to DevSecOps Talks with Matthias, Andre, and Paulina. For notes and information, please visit devsecops.fm. Thanks for tuning in.